Dude, holy shit. Hi, everyone. On Skibbity, I arrive. Yeah. Alright, yeah, okay, I already got it open. Yeah, I only got like 4 hours of sleep last night, and I like just got like a fifth. Like a minute ago. Like I took like an hour nap. So I'm a little out of it. But I will be fine. I had Monster. I had my funny drink. I have some extra lunacy now. I mean, it might just be like how my throat is doing, or because I'm more tired, or something, I don't know. Or because it's like before I've done all the, it's before I've done all the voice acting. Unfortunately, I have not gotten a chance to continue the Grinch book. I will set to it to get it done this week. I will put my mind to it. I'm a working boy. I'm a boy with a job. I'm an employed man. So oh, wait, shit, I'm supposed to be and those present all sat in complete silence. Then there was Jia Yuanchun, with her lips slightly curled into a mirthless sneer. And at the center of it all sat Jia Shichun, unsure of what to say next. Well, everyone. Jia Yuanchun, seated next to the hierarch seat upon which Shichun sat, smoothly takes control of the situation and begins the assembly. Honored heads of houses, lords of each family, their proxies, members, and... She nods lightly, acknowledging our awkward presence. And little Shichun's guests, who stay here at our H Corp, seems to be extending without a foreseeable end. Isn't she technically from Q Corp? What's up with her acting like she's any less of an outsider than we are? Yeah, and did everyone catch that? Our H Corp? Regardless of everything else, the fact that she hijacked the meeting from the get-go is ridiculous, especially with Jia Shichun, the family hierarch herself, presiding over this official assembly. I've heard good things about it. I'm very glad they introduced a minigame. I love minigames. I love minigames so much. Clearly, she is using the pretense of assisting the hierarch to assert her own dominance over these proceedings. Apparently there was somebody on Twitter who was having like a meltdown because it's like, it's just Umusume. It's just Umusume. They're just capitalizing on Umumusume's popularity when it's supposed to be Princess Maker. As we are all aware, venerable former Jiamu has always discussed with and confided in me about the matters of greatest import, the momentousness of which steered the very course of H Corp's prospects. I'm gonna fuck up a lot of the lines in here. I'm not gonna be at the top of my game for voice acting because I'm still a little dizzy. Even after I departed the family for Q Corp, venerable former GMU has always written missives to confer such matters with me. Something about it smelled suspicious, but we'd already missed the window to challenge her. Well, to present us with proof without breaking decorum. Thus, as it naturally follows that I would be the inheritor of venerable GMU's will, I shall be presiding over this regular assembly, which we convene now to discuss and determine the future of H Corp. What a grandiose and self-important introduction. It seemed clear to me that she considered herself to be the main character of this scene, or something. Your grace certainly befits your station, Lady Yanshin.
We are all impressed by your utmost dedication to the citizenry of hongyuan, despite your already saturated schedule.
We can hardly thank you enough for your magnanimity, Lady Yanshin. Ah, my parents. A true shame they couldn't be here. I've always sung praises of your expertise, Lady Yanshin. Yeah, I can imagine. Cloud guy! I forgot about this guy. I really do like his design. I hope that we get an ID of him at some point. He would make such a good Yi-sung ID. But we already have Wei-sung, so like, we know it's never gonna happen. Mr. Nicotine! Responses from the participants are just as protracted, only obsequious instead of arrogant. As heads of some of those houses were under investigation for consorting with the forces foreign to hongyuan. On Skibbity, it's going to happen! Fucking Wang Zhao ID happening. It's coming out with Farm Watch. Trust. Their vacuum was filled by their children's generation, many of whom we had the pleasure of meeting during the family hierarch war. Very well. Then shall we welcome Jia Shichun, the next person to sit up on the seat of hongyuan's family hierarch?
Greetings, I am... Now, let us begin. For many years, all those who have gathered here today, have toiled day and night for the eternal prosperity and growth of H Corp.
Jia Shichun's expression immediately sours as Yuan Shun unceremoniously cuts off her self-introduction.
First on the agenda for this assembly are urgent discussions and passage of new major policy items that have been tabled for far too long. Distributive contribution rights auctioning policy, quarterly amnesty policy. Hold on, big sister Yanchun.
Oh god, it's small text. I'm gonna read so much. Hang on.
Passing the distributive contribution rights auctioning policy would allow the opening auction.
Hell yeah.
Would allow the open auction for any remaining rooms the day before reconstruction days. And the quarterly amnesty wouldn't do anything but
give unfair advantage to certain families and high net worth individuals by guaranteeing them large real estate assignments, regardless of their performance in the previous quarter. Jia Shichun stutters a little, flustered, before continuing. My point is, these policies are going to rattle H Corp's economy the moment they go into effect. Besides, these policies are pretty much drawn to favor lining the pockets of a select few families and high-ranking officials of H Corp.
If I may, venerable hierarch, lining the pockets. That is quite an odd turn of phrase to refer to the bare minimum respect society might repay to its highest contributing members. Don't you—
Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Highest contributing members, my dick and balls, man.
On Skibbity, I have my waters.
Oh, before we continue, Shichun, I'm not entirely certain if you were aware, but ever since the ascension of the new family hierarch, perceived value of hongyuan has been racing to the, for lack of a better word, rock bottom. Clearly, this demonstrates hongyuan's concern and its lack of faith in the newly appointed family hierarch. Therefore, it naturally follows that our most urgent task at hand is to put a stop to this value and reputation freefall and restore prosperity and greatness to hongyuan once again.
The vitality juice. Oh, my juice.
Yeah, okay. And that's the family hierarch's job, right? Why are you... If you had perused H Corp's articles of association, you would have known that, should H Corp be deemed in a state of crisis, the 4 great houses in the board of directors' voice may also carry de facto power in the assembly. And the board of directors, that's us, has determined that we are now in a state of crisis. State of crisis? What crisis? Everything that led to my ascension to the family hierarch was legitimate, right down to the final approval. These unseemly rumors and slander are tanking our value, which we have built up assiduously through years upon years of toil. So what is this if not a state of crisis? And who wouldn't doubt the new family hierarch's qualities when this decline has coincided precisely with her ascension?
Jia Yuanchun was somehow turning the room against Shichun, without presenting a single shred of evidence, portraying her some burdensome hierarch who was single-handedly tanking H Corp's value.
No one in the assembly, not a single representative from any families present, stepped up to point out how Jia Shichun's swift actions were what finally repelled the outside forces that had marched right up to hongyuan's front yard. Or how she deftly maneuvered her forces to quell the embers of war by quickly taking control of the chaos within Daguanyan. She hadn't shown any glaring signs of incompetence since her ascension, despite her relative inexperience, but... Everyone in hongyuan's board of directors, the heads of each family, averted their eyes as though all of that had somehow, inconceivably, slipped their minds.
I would guess it's probably going to run longer than intended. I would say at least 3 hours, probably.
So you take yourself to be a qualified individual for that responsibility, Shichun. Very well, then proceed. We're all waiting for you to begin your briefing before the assembly regarding the last 30 years' quarterly net, but... Fucking Christ. We're all waiting for you to begin your briefing before the assembly regarding the last 30 years' quarterly net revenue records for hongyuan's singularity-related businesses, your calculations on next year's fiscal debt forecasts, and the exact recipe and variation numbers for the boluses that have been registered in the last 5 years. That's... The venerable hierarch has not received that data prior to the meeting. You must all be aware of the chaos that followed the ascension. We are still indexing all available materials to... Isn't that funny? Not once in the history of hongyuan has the family hierarch ever failed to provide an immediate and detailed answer regarding hongyuan's historical statistics. Jia Yuanchun must have known all along, too. She must have known how the previous family hierarchs were all directly supplied with an immense repository of information through the Xianhong worm or something of the equivalent. And she's using it to target Shichun's weakness, knowingly asking questions she, the first family hierarch without the Amamna worm, couldn't possibly answer.
The responsibilities tied to the venerable seat of the hierarch, Tiamu, are matched only by the great power bestowed upon it. Thus, how are we to leave the matters of the wing to someone who is so evidently unprepared for the task?
They're literally bullying her, what the fuck?
Given the present circumstances, our hands may be forced to call vote the motion of no confidence.
The motion of no confidence?
A motion of no confidence, when passed by the high-ranking political officials, can result in the removal of the chief executive from office.
So they're going after Shichun's power. So this is the picture Jia Yuanchun wanted to paint. Impotent family hierarchs stammering and stumbling through a first meeting to the total and near unanimous lack of support from the H-Corp Board of Directors. Whatever jargon they're on about, seems to me they've got not an ounce of respect for the last or us. Never trust twats overly obsessed with numbers and optimizations. They'll be the first ones to kick you out the moment they no longer see you as useful.
You're not the only one who's pissed off, so can you please stop shaking your leg for a second? Don't need to make our frustration any more obvious, you know.
My ass would have left the chair long ago if it weren't for this lass.
In H-Corp, should the Board of Directors unanimously vote in favor of the motion, certain parts of the family hierarch's powers will be removed. It is entirely possible that she will become a hierarch in name only. Oh, so they're threatening to fire her unless she falls in line. This is some needlessly convoluted way to...
Dude, we're talking about politics. We're fucking, Yeah.
The Assembly will now consider the motion of no confidence. Are there any objections to bringing the motion of no confidence against family hierarch Jia Shichun to the floor?
Hold on! The vote of no confidence is an item you can invoke so lightly!
The Shi family has no objections.
Let's say the Wang family has no objections either.
Shui family too.
The arrest of the previous family head seems to have changed precisely nothing. Those in power wore more youthful faces, but their tongues still carried the same old resistance to change. The new family heads were just as uncooperative as ever, and everyone seemed to be solely interested in staying in Jia Yuanchun's good graces. New faces, same old. And needless to say, Heathcliff wasn't the only sinner fuming with rage. Aw, it's time! 'Tis far too vexing to simply watch and do not.
Right? I knew you wouldn't let this slide, Don Quixote. They're walking all over Shichun like she's not even here.
Forsooth, we cannot let such injustice transpire unabated.
Hey, seems like we're both on the same page.
That's it. I'm not going to hesitate to make myself heard again. This time, I want to be courageous. With your help, Don Quixote. Come on. Let's do this together. Okay? Very well. I'm in agreement.
Yeah. Let's go on 3. At the same time. If there are no objections... 1, 2... The Assembly will put this resolution to vote in a month, and...
3. Hang on. I want to actually try and do a somewhat decent Sinclair voice for this. Shit, what do I do? I'm so used to just doing the generic TikTok Deku dub voice. Here, objection! Bloody hell! Oi, have you gone mental? Sinclair stood tall, at the center of the entire room's undivided astonishment. Alone. Don Quixote, still firmly in her seat, gazed upon Sinclair's proud stand, and rubbed her nose. It's hot in here, I'm gonna take off my jacket.
Young Sinclair, thou hast evolved indeed. What an unmitigated pursuer of justice thou hast become, with such unrelenting fervor and utter disregard for decorum. Certainly, mine efforts have finally borne fruit.
This is the new intervallo. Yeah. It's politic hours.
What the hell? Did Don Quixote or Heathcliff suddenly rub off on you or something?
No, wait! No! What happened there, Don Quixote? We were going to...
What happened to objecting together? Huh? I had taken thy suggestion to mean that we must voice our dissatisfaction through the official channels, borrowing the titles of the illustrious Red Gaze and the Department of LCC. Disputes in succession of power on such a high level of government are hardly ever resolved with rash grandstanding. Wouldst thou not agree?
Why are you normal all of a sudden? Lad, what just happened? What happened to the clammy, meek boy? Well, that's... I guess I just assume that this is how Limbus Company rolls now. Real. In the next kanto, we finally get to learn about... We finally get to learn about Hong Lu's 7th divorce.
There seems to have been an unexpected outburst. There seems to have been an unexpected outburst from Shichun's guests. Withdraw your objection, and we will consider this a momentary loss of control, and not enter it as an official statement.
It was, Sinclair's eyes were shaking like someone with his life on the line.
If not, I take it that you have full confidence in her abilities. So please, I encourage you to elaborate. When and how will Shichun demonstrate her aptitude for the responsibilities of the family hierarch?
His voice continues to shrivel into a corner.
He can't. And how could anyone?
I will fucking smack you down, bro. You want to tussle, bro? You want to fucking go to the ring? I'll beat you with that big headdress of yours. Or is it a crown? I don't know.
How could anyone, when we all had a very clear view of her path to ascension? During the family hierarch evaluation, Jia Baoyu donated the coins he received from Jia Chu to you. Essentially, you pity-partied your way to victory.
Pity-partied?
And for your ascension, Jia Chu and those outsiders from an upstart company had to, almost literally, carry you to the seat. Has there even been a single victory attained by your own hands in that entire process?
I don't know who's speaking. That's when quiet, even footsteps broke through Jia Yuanchun's merciless dismantling of Jia Shichun. A woman! Oh, it's Eong! That's right. Yet, I see the point. The hierarch, with her grace, needs only demonstrate her already established qualifications before all.
This is no place for an outsider to speak. But proceed. Just how will she prove herself before us?
What an odd statement, coming from a fellow outsider who's been chattering for minutes on end. Forgive me, I could only presume from your verbosity that the right to speak in this forum is open to all outsiders. You have said it yourself, no? That the vote on the no-confidence resolution will proceed in a month. That seems to give the venerable hierarch a month to regain the trust of each family. What? It is rather clear to me that there are many who find their own defeat in the family hierarch war difficult to accept. Such a doubt is easily resolved. A match between clans should lay out the results quite obviously. On Skibbity.
Very well. A fair challenge between clans. Which would preclude the participation of the family hierarch's Heisho packs and the Jialan guards.
So you would remove her Pao and Ju before the game even begins? Why not make this test a series of sparring matches in both academia and martial arts, if that is the case?
Huh. What audacity. Do you truly have that much faith in Jia Shichun's abilities? You must know the consequences of failing these matches, no? It would be unanimous, one-sided end to the vote of no confidence. And naturally, any and all rights appertaining to the family hierarch shall be transferred to the board of directors.
That is fine by us. You are free to choose any champion whom you seem fit. What does the hierarch need? 5 cigarettes. 5 packs of cigarettes. 5 good-ass packs of Marlboros. That is what the hierarch needs. A fucking ciggy.
Unfortunately, your underlings don't seem to share your inflated confidence.
But in the midst of the confused, flabbergasted silence from the other centers, a clear, carefree, yet defiant voice rings out. Hong Lu's retort. That's not true at all, Big Sister Yanchun. We actually have just as much confidence in Shichun as she does. His wide eyes stared directly and unblinkingly into Jia Yuanchun's. It occurred to me that this might be his way of expressing anger. Oh, it's small text.
Imputed child. How dare he stare me down like that? Then you are welcome to try. 1 month. You have but 1 month to prove before all in audience that she is, indeed, fit to be the family hierarch. Should you fail, the vote may as well be a mere formality.
In other words, should she successfully prove herself, none of you shall again rightly challenge the independent rights and powers bestowed upon the family hierarch. The consequences of such recalcitrance. Oh, man. I'm learning words I didn't know before. I'm learning words I wasn't aware of for 22 years of life. The consequences of such recalcitrance would be no different from those that the traders are facing. Wouldn't you agree? Well then, we'll excuse ourselves now.
Wait, I'm...
Zigong turns around toward us with that same mysterious smile and slowly directs us outside the assembly hall.
We may call them sparring matches, but you must know that each and every one of them is a test to prove your claim to the seat of the family hierarch. A month is a time far too brief for drastic improvement, regardless for whom it may be. Learning from a proper master for 10 months straight might teach you a few things, but who knows how long the search for one such master might take? Not to mention the official channels through which you must bring them past Daguan Yuan's walls, which may take up to 2 months. Why not relent now and relinquish but a part of your powers as the family hierarch to the board of directors?
It seems that this fellow outsider's mental faculties are impressively lacking. My lord has spoken in the past that, when in the presence of 3 people, at least one of them is bound to be a teacher of mine. And here they are, aren't they? Jia Shichun's masters, each carrying something new to teach her. All 13 of them. Zigong gestured confidently toward the flabbergasted sinners, and the assembly came to an end. We were planning to train Jia Shichun anyway, but it seems that we are now under an unexpected deadline.
Hey, when you said the LCB was going to help me out, did you guys mean that you are going to publicly humiliate the crap out of me at the assembly?
Haha, of course not, Shichun.
Big Sister Yanchun's an old snake. You've just given her 30 days to set the perfect stage for my downfall, to prove to the world once and for all, that I'm not qualified at all to be the family hierarch.
But Shichun, weren't you always so good at humbling anyone who dared underestimate you?
Not so much anymore. Back then, like an idiot, I thought I just had to hold on with everything I had. I thought that's all I ever had to do. But now...
But now? Yay, family bonding!
Now... things are different. It's true that I'm vastly underqualified to be the family hierarch, and she's right. I pretty much lucked into this position.
Shichun, don't tell me that woman's bullshit actually got to you.
Well, she wasn't completely wrong, right? I'm just some kid who happened to be just good enough to survive some traps and ambushes. I'm afraid the responsibility of a family hierarch might be too much.
True. Certified blooming flower emoji. Certified blooming rose emoji. The opposite of the wilting rose emoji. Her self-confidence has significantly decreased compared to the observation from our previous interaction.
The heck, Shichun? I don't remember you being this kind of character. What happened to the girl who looked down on us the moment we met? You even had the audacity to pretend to not know who we were, didn't you? Where'd all that confidence go, girl?
It actually got under her skin back then, huh?
So, Shichun, what do you want to do? Are you sure you're okay with this? Are you okay with letting this happen?
If I let it happen, Big Sister Yuanchun's going to continue expanding her influence here. I'm sure she and the board of directors have been cozying up to each other for a long time.
Is the implication that her testaments on her influence were true?
Yep, it's true. Before she left for Q Corp, Big Sister Yanchun used to always accompany Jiamu to these assemblies. If we just let them hold a vote of no confidence, they're going to unanimously vote against me and slowly reduce the family hierarch's scope of power. And who knows, they might even call for a reevaluation, however unlikely that sounds. Besides, Big Sister Yanchun, I think her definition of hongyuan's prosperity might be different from mine. What she's looking for isn't H Corp's prosperity, it's Daguan Yuan's. And I know that this all has something to do with its ties to Q Corp, which I bet has already been going on for a while just under my radar. I'm sure they've already had plenty of talks behind my back.
Which is not the kind of vision you have for hongyuan's future, right? And that's why you spoke up against her.
My vision for hongyuan is... I want to change H Corp to be the kind of place where people can live without fear. I just never imagined I'd have to prove myself like this, and in only 30 days.
Even then, your vision hasn't changed, right?
It hasn't. Great, great. So it's decided then, huh? We just need Fao to deliver the bad news to Sod.
So, to summarize, the responsibility of training Shichun to win these matches, these amorphous tests upon which hinges the family hierarch's fate, and almost every facet of which is entirely under Jia Yuanchun's control, by the way, and is probably a trap, within the next 30 days, is ours. And we have to explain that to Saud. Yeah, APA.
Wow. That sounds like a lot of work when you put it like that.
Post-mortem reports have become quite rote. Sometime later.
Prithee, thou must impress upon us the illustrious red case that 'twasn't mine idea this time.
Sinclair stared blankly at Don Quixote as she made her desperate plea towards Sod. Oh, true.
Yes, and I understand that as well. For the 8th time.
As always, Saud was wearing the same refreshingly incomprehensible smile. The kind of smile that makes people increasingly anxious the longer it lasts.
Well, that gives us about 30 days, during which those sparring matches, tests, whatever, will be happening as well. Great, then let's give it our best.
Sinclair mutters in a near whisper, clearly feeling responsible for what happened. Yes, I understand. I never should have stepped out of line like that, but something just...
Yeah, so let's give it our best?
I totally agree! We messed everything up again, and... What?
Limbus Company was always going to remain here and assist Miss Jia Shichun acclimatize herself to the responsibilities of the family hierarch. It was always a part of our plan. Well, I sure am glad that I took Faust's advice about how meticulous planning is completely pointless when it comes to LCB's missions. I never would have had to submit 9 separate disciplinary incidents report back during the J-Corp incident, had I known. Bunny! Yay! Yippee! I love Bunny!
I believe I should be able to explain this further. Prior to his departure, my lord was concerned that such a thing would come to pass. That is why he has left Zilu and I here to look after the new family hierarch's position, which must still be on rather thin ice. Oh, so that's what they were privately talking about when he pulled them aside. Doing nothing and allowing her wicked machinations to progress have irrevocably made the entire board of directors not but putty in Yuanchun's hands. And that would have led that snake to de facto assume the seat of family hierarch. Against such an insidious foe who wields intrigue as her weapon, the most viable strategy is the most direct one, to challenge her head on. Besides, has this not given you the excuse you needed to prolong your company's stay in Daguanyuan? This is also a prime opportunity for Jia Shichun to further solidify her influence here, depending on the outcome of the vote for no confidence, whatever. They have played right into our hands by accepting this deal. So, I don't want to raid on everyone's parade, but are we not even going to consider what might happen if we fail? No, we are not, because you will not fail, not with us aiding your efforts. Also, were you serious back there when you said that we were all going to teach Jia Shichun? All 12 of us? I won't object to selecting only a few of us with better aptitude to be educators. I don't want any of my shitty fucking coworkers talking to her. By the way, we already have established an internal hierarchy based on the sum of each of our abilities. Of course, the results weren't entirely to my satisfaction, due to an unexpected incident. Miss Otis, that is a statement mired in narrowed vision, rife with factual refractions. I hold the stance that the qualities of a good teacher are defined not by such statistics. So, you must be the one who placed last in that scale.
Don't say anything, bud. Best not to stand out like a sore thumb.
I may have overreacted then.
My lord has said that from the virtuous we may learn to replicate their merits. From the flawed we may learn to avoid their failings. As long as the student is willing to learn, anyone, anything can be a teacher. I also, to embrace this teaching, seek from all those who come across. Just what in the heavens are you doing?
Aha! I am preparing a lesson plan for young Shichun, our family hierarch.
Wow, you sure got on that fast. So what are these yellow wormy things here?
Aha! 'Tis a star, twinkle twinkling in its radiance.
According to the schedule you were prepared, the student would have -3 hours available for sleep. This lesson plan's execution will require cooperation from T-Corp.
'Twould-be mistake most fatal indeed. I shall correct it post-haste.
Zigong was staring at Don Quixote's expression of her wild artistic merit upon the curriculum with her usual crescent moon eyes. Wait, is that supposed to be Zigong's grimace? Of course. Each to their own, I suppose. I need not be shaken by every little thing until we have their actual lesson plans in hand. Hey, thanks for putting your faith in us, Zigong. We barely have any of that to go around ourselves, so I understand it couldn't have been easy. You could say that I have learned my lesson. The recent events have taught me that the path of learning is truly one without end. Is it time? No? Okay. Agreed. I was been yeah. I see that you have all individually worked on your lesson plans, as for Zigong's request. Oh wait, that's Zilu, never mind. I have received a total of 12 lesson plans. Hold on! Shouldn't there be 13 of them? Even the executive manager has decided to spare their precious time to teach a class. Huh? Yeah, I handed in my lesson plan too.
That is because... so who didn't do their homework?
After a brief silence, everyone turned around and looked at one of the sinners. It ain't me! Oh, please! At least try to make a compelling argument! Who else other than you could it possibly...
It's me.
You think? You've been acting out of character a lot recently. What's going on?
On Skibbity. TSB hitting hard. You got the key smash beats in the studio. Well, that's... Sinclair was drenched in sweat for some reason. Actually, In Sinclair's seat was a large stack of papers, each filled to the brim with writing. Sinclair, are these papers... Phew. I'm done! Sorry, I got too into making a lesson plan. I just couldn't stop myself from writing. Sinclair couldn't have appeared more proud as he placed that big bundle of sweat-soaked papers in Zilu's hands. And she receives it with mild trepidation. You seem to have dedicated quite the momentous effort in drawing up this lesson plan. What's up with her?
Let's start reviewing from the first of the stack. 108 Analytical Approaches to an Aesthete's AAA. What does AAA mean? How do you plan to explore all 108 approaches in a month?
Appreciation of artistry in assassinations. Ryoshu has been teaching him! Ryoshu! If you went too far. Right, sorry. Flip a page and continue reading for those 108 approaches. What paint did you use? It's quite viscous and the paper is partially melted. Ah! Lady, watch yourself! You almost got some on my arm! A painting? Zilu! Trails coating the world. She's so fucking edgy! I love her! Now you know how aesthetes appreciate the artistry of slaughter. Just what in the hell did you paint that paper? Hey, get it together! Zilu stumbled briefly. Whatever was on the paper must have given her quite the shock. My mind wandered for a moment. This is too dangerous to be used for a lesson. Thus, it goes to the discard pile. Weak sauce. Zilu crumpled up the paper without hesitation and tossed it out of sight. Next. Intro to Societal Reintegration. Impressive title. Chapter 1. How to shake hands when your left hand with your How to shake hands with your left hand when the situation calls for it. Chapter 2. Exploration of exclusively long-sleeved fashion practices. Chapter 3. Projecting confidence. Having a bug arm is totally cool. It is! He's right though. He's right. Having a bug arm is totally cool. That's you know how it is. Be proud of who you are, all that philosophy stuff. I wanted this lesson to give a bit of a paradigm shift where we can all come to see our flaws not as failings, but as evidence of our individuality. Which will usher in a world where we can carry on with our lives, no matter what kind of arm we have. He literally is totally in the right. Let him teach, let him cook, let him cook. Discard. Next. Zilu quickly flipped through the pages. Intro to Denigrative Linguistics. Subheading, The Power of Words. Sticks and stones may break their bones, so let's add words to the pile. My credentials include the ability to dress down an opponent so hard that they fall to their knees and beg me to stop. I have plans for application as well. The lesson teaches methods pertaining to disguising compliments and criticisms and vice versa. All of this seems rather difficult to learn. I'll try. I have concluded from my hitherto observations that Jia Shichun is an individual of great promise in this field. Follow my instructions to a T, and I guarantee you that this cadet shall be able to have the upper hand in any verbal confrontations. Is this a curriculum to make the best brawler or the best family hierarch out of me? Zilu seemed quite interested, but Jia Shichun's vehement veto eventually overruled the suggestion. On Justice. Another impressive title. Subheading. Methodologies of captivating an entire room of preoccupied audience. Discard. Next. Practice of ego splitting concerning... I'm gonna say this one, I'm gonna say this. Practice of ego splitting concerning mirror conflict between the self and the reflective and paradoxically fractured theory of idea. Practice of idea. The practice of ego splitting concerning. Practice of ego splitting. Practice of ego splitting concerning inter-mirror conflict between the self and the reflection and paradoxically fractured theory of idealism, which one attempts to open an unopening door to open the door. Done it. Utterly incomprehensible. Discard. Perhaps Miss Ryoshu's advice to truncate the lesson title should have been taken in earnest. Survival and exploration. 21 reasons to pay attention when the exploration team leader is giving advice on the upcoming adventure. Case study for 30 horrible mistakes that occurred because the team was distracted during the leader's lecture. Ideal. I think Ideal is like my favorite annoying Project Moon joke. I love Ideal, man. I'm probably gonna need extra water this stream because I got like a fucking sunburn or whatever and I need to drink a lot of water. How to track down a troublemaker who tries to sweep trouble under the rug while team leader isn't looking. Someone ignored my advice that we should have been moving 2 steps ahead. Finally, I've narrowed them down to 3 culprits. Wait! I forgot to take that part out! Truly, this gooping was very ideal. It was so ideal when we surrendered and witnessed the goop. And into the shredder it went. When did that paper shredder even get here? The art of using yawning as a cover for popping a cookie or 2 into your mouth. Especially useful when getting lectured.
Hey, if you're good enough at it, you can do that with nuts too.
So it was you that made those crunching noises in our last meeting.
What? Nah, do you take me for an amateur?
The art of social maneuvers. How to let it flow through you. How to not make things awkward when you walk right in on someone bad-mouthing you. The most important part of this art is to flash a refreshing smile in a way that looks earnest. It helps when you convince yourself that smiling is what brings good fortune. Smiles have a way of disarming people, giving them pause and making them hesitate.
I remember that. Big Bro used that technique to confuse a lot of hongyuan people who hated him.
I see. This... I can't quite bring myself to throw this into the shredder. Next, how to remain complete stillness for a week until the next command is received. This lesson plan was designed based on Rodion's advice that I must prioritize strengths that are unique to myself.
Look, in my defense, I didn't know he considered that to be his unique strength, okay?
Let us consider whether standing in complete stillness for a week is a quality one might seek in the family hierarchy. This one is certainly interesting. What separates bravado from bravery? Jack shite! Sawed off and grab your weapons. Yep. Always gotta read the full print. Ha! It's my philosophy that reason don't necessarily need to be considered before coming to blows. Martial prowess is indeed an indispensable part of the family hierarch's qualities. But our focus is not on developing a hierarch of a syndicate. Next. Information disparity is a driver of inequitable treatment.
Oh? Huh. That's actually the most interesting sounding one so far.
Do you think it's Faust's?
the application of engineering frameworks.
Okay, it's kind of losing me, but I'm still on board.
For systematic resolution in rational self-interest driven societies.
And is it still going?
That was 1/5 of the full title. It seems that the same trouble has hindered both you and I. Every word in that title was added for its absolute necessity. Indeed, indeed.
After she had gone through the majority of our lesson plans.
Finally. Now that that's over.
Yes, it's finally my turn. Sinclair sighed with the gravitas of someone who's just been bestowed with the most important mission in his life. Thinking back, even back in school, I used to daydream about becoming a teacher myself. I thought I could be good at it. This truly is the heartbreaking. So, I guess you could say I'm pretty happy to be given an opportunity like this. I call my lesson The Theory on Self-Overcoming. We have to accept that everyone stumbles at first, but by always striving to be a better person than I was yesterday.
Hey, but what if I like who I was yesterday more?
That's okay. Everyone has their own unique potential sleeping deep inside. So, with everything I've learned and experienced so far, let me teach you. Let me teach you how to not doubt your own capabilities, how to always shoot higher.
Hold on. You had me for a second there, but what's up with acting like you're an infinitely more enlightened person than I am?
Of course. I prepared a speaking class where you can learn how to speak with modesty, too.
I never would have imagined Sinclair would be this into it.
Yeah, too bad he's so into it that he's not even listening to what Shichun's saying.
Following that, your company is... It seems that Zilu has completed her review.
Oh, I see. Now how's everything going, everyone? Class prep going well?
My curriculum most special.
Okay, so that's a no.
That was Saud's impression upon taking a quick glance at Don Quixote, who was sobbing and cradling the shredded pieces of her lesson plan in her hands. Well, it wasn't a complete bust, at least. Sinclair's lesson plan survived. Whew. Miss Seagong, Miss Sode, I've prepared a full 30 days worth of lesson plans. Would you like to take a look? But Zigong and Sode weren't looking at the dozens of lesson plans Sinclair presented so proudly before their eyes. They were looking away. Zigong, especially, was looking away with an unmistakable expression of pity. So he doesn't know. Would you mind explaining this, Zilu? I could not bring myself to tell him. Apologies. So, this young man produced this entire, sizable stack of lesson plans, all on his own. Ugh, ugh. I see. Weakness has found its way into your heart in the face of such an earnest effort. I understand. However, it has been decided that Sinclair will not be participating as one of Jia Shichun's teachers. Or should I call you Pupil Sinclair, to be exact? This has gotta be a mistake, right? Isn't Shichun the pupil here? No, there haven't been any mistakes. My lord has specifically instructed that you are to learn from this as well. Thank you. There's no other way for me to react to that, but thank you. I love Don Quixote. She's low-key literally me.
What? What? Seriously?
This isn't right. Guys! Guys, this isn't right.
Now this looks like a proper classroom. It would have felt pretty dang empty with just Shichun sitting there all on her own, don't you think? Besides, I bet Sink's the resident expert on going to schools, right? School was a luxury for me, you know?
Yeah, maybe, but that doesn't mean I ever want to go back to school. You should learn to be grateful. I don't dole out my teachings to just anyone. Don't forget, we have to redo the whole lesson plan under their supervision. Otis, you always get on your soapbox and try to lecture everyone about something after every single battle anyway. And you, Ishmael, you always get hyperfixated on something. Once you find something interesting, you never stop talking about it for 3 hours at least. And I will ensure that you receive the best education I can provide, Sinclair. Yeah. Hang on, I'm gonna open the window. I need to airflow. I'm the horse boy. Hold on, Yi-sung! I thought we were the underdog duo! Remember to check up when I said we got this? We're going to get this together! The evaluation painted a twisted picture of the true scale of strength, the sole measure of which erroneously relied entirely on physical might. I shall not hesitate to impart knowledge for those who require education. Oh. Congratulations, my lady. You have found yourself a deskmate, which some also call a bestie, depending on desk placement.
Huh? Deskmate? Bestie? What does any of that mean? Huh?
Jia Shichun's eyes widened with confusion, as though she just heard those words for the first time in her life. When I first met her when she was 16, she explained to me that she hadn't attended any school-like institutions. This is par for the course for children of hongyuan who are raised for the purpose of becoming the next family hierarch. The reason being that schools can be a perfect place to assassinate someone. So, deskmates and besties. Sinclair began to explain, seemingly resigned to the fact that he was essentially going back to school for a month with the other sinners as teachers. Usually sit next to each other and help one another out. A bestie might nudge the other awake when they doze off, share their homework with one another if one forgot to do theirs. They usually end up being included in the best memories of each other's school time.
So not very important at all, huh? I think I got my own. I don't need a bestie.
You're gonna turn down the opportunity to have a bestie? For shame. For shame. It may have come a few years late, but I am moved that my lady finally has a chance experiencing school. Same here. I remember it like yesterday. Shichun would sit and watch other kids walk to school from a distance, tears welling in her eyes. Poor unfortunate Sclare. Little meow meow.
Dude!
Oh, that reminds me. One day out of nowhere, she started saying something about eating from lunch boxes with friends. I haven't a clue as to how or where she even heard about it, but she snuck into the kitchen and...
Ah! Wait! Don't you guys have lesson plans to write? Come on, hurry up! 30 days are ticking down! We've only got 30 days!
Of course. Unfortunately, I have become quite occupied with another task of great importance, assisting Ray with indexing and reviewing various documents that are in critical need of organizing. Thus, I must leave the lesson planning task to you two, Zilu and Miss Saud. Have you any thoughts on the matter? Slacker. Yeah? Indeed. What was that?
I said nothing.
Yay! Game time! Game time! Minigame! 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 Zulu and Sound appeared to have aged several years overnight, their faces sunken and sallow.
Finally! After referencing the idiosyncrasies and various statistical data available to us regarding each sinner, we managed to come up with an appropriate curriculum. Miss Zulu?
Apologies. Whoops. What the fuck did I just do? I split my screen to 4 on accident. Here we go. Sleep deprivation has relieved me of clear mind. The path of an educator is truly a grueling one. Marching to battle would be much easier.
Haha! Still, thanks to Mr. Jiajiu's methodology you shared, we did manage to find a way to make this quite efficient. Efficient, huh?
To be a true family hierarch, there are dozens, hundreds of virtues one must understand and master. However, to do so in 30 days as promised is an implausible effort. Thus, we have categorized the countless virtues into 3 supercategories. And they are called...
What are these supposed to be?
Ji, Yong, and Ren. Minigame! Expendable at door 19! Minigame! Ji, wisdom. The wise lose neither people nor words. To hold one's silence in need of speech shall cost them people. To speak in need of silence shall cost them words.
A reasonable sequence of logic.
Young, courage. The ability to overcome fear. To act decisively. Have too much of it, and risk becoming a brute. Have too little, and risk becoming a craven. It needs harmony and balance. Oh, so how far are we allowed to go with corporal punishment again?
I recall no instance of any discussion regarding corporal punishment.
And Ren, humanity, is the benevolence of the heart, the compass of behavior that dictates respect toward every human. Clearly, most of the faculties of this school are severely lacking in all 3 of your criteria. Just how do you think they'll be able to teach the students anything?
Yeah, like a certain someone needs a lesson in Ren.
Are you sure I'm in good hands? Just what the heck am I supposed to learn here? Where's Wei? Mr. Wei and Miss Zigong are currently quite preoccupied with handling the monumental task of paperwork. Ah, right. Mr. Wei wanted me to deliver this message to you.
Be strong, my lady.
Despite her protestations, the 30 days of classes commenced. Gaming, gaming, gaming! I'm gonna get more water really quick. My bad.
Oh.
Alright, huh? Okay, also Sinclair Racing Simulator, I guess. I'll figure this out, I'm sure. I'm sure I'll eventually figure out what all this means. Alright, it's all the same thing. Okay, I guess this one's just like locked in. Let's go. Class is time.
My name is Yisang. Oh, my name is Yisang. That is all. The class I have prepared for the day.
Uh-huh. I've heard plenty about your mirror tech. Which makes me wonder.
Ah! I see, I see. Nah, I'll figure it out on my own. I can do it. I'm a smart boy.
Going by the level of advancement in that technology, couldn't you have approached it from a different angle? You know how technological advancement usually goes. People invent for the sake of creation, only to have their inventions inevitably warped into weapons of destruction.
Indeed, you show much promise already. As you surmise now, the mirror has, in the past, almost been employed to shatter possibilities instead of reflecting them.
I'm sure that's the angle most others wanted to see happen. Removal of potential risks sounds much more palatable than potential itself to some people, after all.
Correct again. Yet destruction was a word that bore too much suffering from my heart. My sole egress from it was abandonment of my quondam fellows and my life's work, making myself a fugitive from the past.
How did you bring yourself to just abandon it all?
I conversed.
With who?
With myself. That lies within me. As you are aware, the mirror's reflection extends beyond the veils of our own reality. It reflects the potentialities, the latent strength, and the world. Yet, even among them, the reflection of the greatest importance is that of the self. Let not the innumerable worlds of the mirror enchant your gaze. First, one must direct their studies inward and reflect upon oneself.
I learned how to be more true to myself by looking into the mirror.
Alright.
Now, if you are prepared, do explain what you see in the mirror. You needn't haste. For some reason, Shichun appeared to hesitate before the mirror.
Hey, you know, it's been a while since I looked into the mirror for so long.
My lady, do you recall Sunzhen, of the Shi family, who contacted you for a meeting?
This has truly been an ideal lesson. Excellent work.
Yeah, the guy who said he was going to show me a precious flower that blooms only at night? I remember that you were vehemently against me going out there, so I stayed inside. I wonder what kind of flower it was.
Don't tell me you were actually looking forward to meeting him, my lady.
Oh, of course not.
You were wise to stay inside. It was revealed that you weren't the only person who was invited, my lady. That
Bioman had hired a group of assassins to ambush the meeting spot, and would have been waiting there to spring a trap had you gone. But, apparently, he was outplayed and had his limbs and head torn off as punishment. What a relief, isn't it?
I guess. I'm glad I didn't go away. You were right.
If only you still had the Woo branch under your control.
Stop it! We agreed to move on from that, remember? We don't have to talk about it.
I was brushing my hair and looking in the mirror as we were talking, but I realized that I no longer recognized the girl in the mirror. I don't know why, but I just found it so hard to meet her eyes. But I brushed it off, because I had to. An experience like that was going to be a common occurrence anyway, and the family hierarchy was always looming on the horizon. Perhaps what you felt then may have been shame. But it is paramount to face oneself nonetheless. Nay, especially so if it was. And Sinclair, what do you see? I see... Well, I just see myself smiling. I don't see what's so out of the ordinary. But it seemed like Sinclair couldn't really bring himself to face the mirror.
Hey, after what we just discussed, I think I understand something now. Now that I've had some quiet time looking at my reflection, I think I uncovered a part of myself I've had hidden away for a long time.
More mirror times! Yay! Okay, I guess that's the only option. Ahem. 'Tis true that a station of teaching is prone to imbue one with a sense of bashfulness. Sinclair and Shichun both sat with a bit of apprehension as well. Oh shit! I love high number, big number big, og, compant. Me when big number. Which is understandable, given what Soud taught them sometime before the lesson started. Some time ago, Otis, who'd been glaring daggers at Don Quixote for a good while, finally decided to voice her doubts to Soud. So, what is Don Quixote, that woman, supposed to teach? Have you not considered that her usual flippancy might only cause more trouble than it's worth?
You worry too much, Otis. While she may not look it, Don Quixote is extremely well versed in those adventure tales.
And why would any of that matter?
Have you yourself considered that fixers often appear when history is in the making?
I think I might let this one run a little shorter. I'm like really tired. And yeah, I'm really sleepy. I don't know, we'll just see how this goes. I don't know how long the minigame segments take.
Hey,
let us see here. Don Quixote took a second to savor the moment as though she had been preparing her whole life for it, then continued. Amongst the greatest fixers whose honored names were engraved in history. Ah, verily, let us commence this lesson with the tale of Fixer UFA. Thank you. I do need sleepies a lot, and there's still stuff I have to do before I go to sleep. This tale beginneth in the year... Sometime later. Are you done? Just how can she continue to talk at such length? She's been going for ages. Thus cometh the time to test thy dedication to this class, and the knowledge that should naturally come with it. A pop quiz, if thou wilt. When did she even find the time to prepare this? I can assure thee, 'tis a quiz of entirely reasonable difficulty if thou hast paid attention in class. Worry thee not. Did you know apparently these are like whole sprites and not just like the sprites with the tables in front of them, the stands. These are like entire sprites. They're attached to the character sprites. These aren't just like pictures they put in front of the sprites. Does this pop quiz have prizes? But of course, I came prepared for such inquiries. For each correct answer I shall bestow upon thee from the very treasure chest of mine. These precious, precious fixer badges! Forsooth, I do not let a single day go by in which I did not polish each and every one of them on 3 separate occasions at the very least. I don't know. I don't really need... I'll take them! I'll take them! I'll take them! I want them! I want them! I want the badges! I want the fixer badges! Hold thine applause, for there is a bonus reward for the victor who, by the end of this match, carries more badges. Thou shalt attain the role of a protagonist in this theatrical play of my making, Fixer Chronicles UFA! 'Tis an opportunity of a lifetime! I'm still not really... It's not doing anything for either of us.
It's still a pretty useless reward, but if you're turning this into a competition, I won't lose.
Seriously? Oh, rad. Yeah.
What, scared you'll lose? Is history your weakness or something?
I'll have you know that I was the teacher's pet in every single history class I took.
And I'll have you know that I was, no matter the subject, showered with praise from every master I ever had.
Okay, if that's how you want to play it. I'll have you know that I was a prodigy in other classes, too. I did great in art classes. Pretty good in math, too. I was just being humble, because I didn't want to steal your thunder, Shichun.
Oh, then let me tell you that I was trained in the mastery of at least 10 different disciplines every single day. And on one of those days, you know what one of my masters told me? He said, looks like Miss Shichun's finally getting a feel for how friendships close in age are forged in school. That's good. No matter how excellent her masters were, there are some experiences you just can't learn from teachers.
I tick-tocked in response.
5! What is the historical community's consensus on the most illustrious battle that Fixer UFA is said to have partaken in? Allow me to impart to thee a major clue. If thou hadst paid attention as I discoursed upon the 5 pillages in which the Fixer UFA was mentioned, this should not be a difficult question to answer. The Honorable Fixer of the Cerulean Heaven, who attained triumph in the Battle of Rhino Tree in the year 465, had said what was the worst ordeal she had to face in her career.
I got it! It's when she had to forge onward, despite watching her dear comrades fall one by one as they held the line to buy her time.
Damn it! I was too slow! Young Shichun, thou art incorrect! Honorable Fixer of the Cerulean Heavens, is recorded to have testified that the worst ordeal in her career was when she was forced to stand before her enemies with hair that was not luscious, as the supply line breakage caused her regular delivery of nutritional supplements to cease. What thou hast suggested, young Shichun, was her 17th most difficult ordeal.
She's speaking like she was actually there.
Thine impression is quite understandable, for I am trained in the ways of vividly regaling these tales, but most of these are tales I have learned from books. Much did I anticipate an opportunity to regale these tales to such an audience, and hope to study the ways of minstrels.
There was a clear look of pride in her twinkling eyes.
What was the secret technique Honorable Fixer Lysander employed in his resolution of the case of the Fey Forest? Speak its name in full!
Just staying in there. Kneading away your fucking, just kneading the fuck out in for like 100 years, doing nothing what 100 years of Fixer Tales does to a motherfucker. I got it! It's, Saturday Fantasia!
Yet I cannot let pass such an unmotivated retelling of his super ultimate move. Hardly could one internalize the true noble spirit of Fixers by simply reciting it with such apathy. Thou must recreate the exact pose and the enunciation. Are you kidding me? Oh. Come on. You can do this, Chishiju. You can do this. This is nothing. Illusions of a midsummer night shall devour thee whole. Summer night fantasia! Thine enunciation was quite shaky upon the word illusions, yet thou hast demonstrated sufficient courage. Thus I bestow upon thee this badge. I grow tired of this nonsense. Just how much longer are you planning to drag this on? Thus muttered the hero, then declared, I shall tear this evil storm asunder, and find a place for this blade at the center of thy heart.
Dante! Lights! Left side!
Gotcha!
Don Quixote, who was watching Sinclair and Gia Shichun's two-person play, silently wiped her tears away.
Bravo! Bravo! Certain minor details were missed, such as that Yue Fei the Fixer was left-handed, and that he had a habit of playing with a lighter in his left pocket before every duel. Yet, 'twas a wonderful reenactment indeed. I have no other critique to impart upon thee. When faced with great adversity in thine adventures, rekindle the memory of Yue Fei the Fixer's final duel. Remember it well. Thus cometh to an end the lessons of today.
Huh. It was just for a moment, but I think I'm starting to get it.
Real? Truth Nuke? I think something like enters my mind, like physically, whenever I do the Don Quixote voice. Because I'm totally pumped while I'm doing it, but like, if I'm tired and I finish, I do like a Don Quixote voice, it's like, oh, it feels like something is like physically removed from my brain. I feel like I could collapse at any moment.
Yeah, why is she so obsessed with fixers?
Clutched tightly in Shichun's hands were the badges Don Quixote had gifted to her. Literally neuron deactivation. Fucking true. I go, Manager's Club! I pissed my pants! And then it's like the moment that the Dawn physically has to like leave my brain, it she like crawls out of my ear and jumps out, and it's like, oh. Alright, more mirror times. Alright. How about... Hang on.
Post とか Post とか
Faust. Faust is very mouse. Yeah, I was gonna be like, oh wait, I should, Dawn adds morale, so I should put, yeah. Boom!
This is a component part taken from the structure that forms H-Corp. This may prove to be an opportunity to conduct an in-depth analysis on the nature of the former H-Corp's singularity, which has been enduring for such a long time.
You look kind of upbeat today, Miss Faust.
Indeed, an opportunity to study the old H-Corp's singularity is not one that comes often. As there was potential for integration into Mephistopheles, I made a request to disassemble a part of the bus's engine, but was denied. A shame.
Aren't you the one who built Mephistopheles, though, Miss Faust?
Mephistopheles is indeed Faust's work, but not all of it was mine. It is possible that Faust may never revealed every small detail that went into its creation. I would very much enjoy a chance to completely disassemble it, even its engines, so that it could be reassembled with my own hands.
Yeah, sure. Combo! Ah.
So that's how it works. I think I get it. Didn't think this is how I'd get to learn more about the old H-Corp. I don't think I can do much against the reconstruction days right now, but this knowledge will certainly come in handy when the day comes for me to gradually dismantle that inquisious thing. The day when Hongyuan can be a place where people can live without fear. Without the fear of the encroaching reconstruction days. Without obsessively counting their rooms to see if they'll fall or not. Until Hongyuan can be a place where you can sleep with the promise of safe tomorrows.
I'm sure you'll pull it off. Oh, and I learned a lot during this lesson too, Miss Faust. Bang!
The voltage must have been set too high. Repeating experiment with a different combination of fuses and wires.
There was supposed to be a lesson somewhere in there, right? Let's see. We should probably have someone with high G. Then we'll go with another Dawn. unlike some other classes, which are more on the upbeat side of things. The room's air felt grim and solemn as soon as everyone saw what Gregor had written on the chalkboard. On war. Losing a wing war leaves a much larger, longer-lasting impact than some medium-sized enterprise closing up shop. It might be too soon to talk about this. We came pretty darn close to one recently, didn't we? We were this close to a large-scale war breaking out right here, which absolutely would have happened if Miss Shichun here failed to finish her ascension. It would have spread like wildfire, too. So, my class is going to be about exactly what happens when a war... Oh. A piece of chalk slipped from Gregor's fingers as he went to scribble something on the board. His left hand was trembling as though the room's temperature had plummeted only for him. Man, why's it gotta... Excuse me, Miss Elu. Is it okay if I smoke?
Go ahead.
You good? Well, when else am I gonna get the chance to share the realities of war right to a wing chief executive officer's face? Huh. The moments that just don't come off your skin, no matter how hard you scrub at them.
Hey, take a break if you need it. I'm gonna listen to every word you have to say here today, no matter how long it takes.
Man, do I appreciate that sentiment. Well, still though, I can't dilly-dally when Miss Shichun's got other stuff to deal with, huh? So, let's take a look at how things were at the very beginning of the Wing War. For real. Chill and deeply traumatized moments with Greg. And that's why the smoke war fronts were mostly characterized by trench warfare.
No one wanted to risk fighting in concrete jungles where they could be surrounded by enemies at all times. So everyone tried to draw each other out to an open field battle, which naturally turned into trench warfare.
Of course, every wing has different singularity, so this isn't really applicable to all cases. It's just the former G-Corp found flat plains easier to maneuver in. I feel like hongyuan could make a pretty good use of hongyuan's defensive fortress, especially with its internal structure constantly shifting around, which the Heisho know and use very well. Exactly. This should explain why they were hesitating outside of hongyuan. Remember the thumb fellas? The ones you met who were going in circles?
Not to mention how the Heisho all utilized the topography of hongyuan differently. Even if an outsider were to get a read on how one of the branches maneuver around hongyuan, as long as the 12 Heisho branches are standing, hongyuan is unassailable.
Notice X is what you make of it, bro. On Skibbity. Well, despite going into all that, I'm sure we all know what the best answer in all warfare is.
Not having a war in the first place. I'll be honest, I can't stop thinking about some of the stories you've been telling us. I can't even imagine what it would have been like to have to not only witness it, but go through all of that.
Alright. I want the rebirth. The second coming. We did visit your fathoms, Gregor, but that wasn't even the tip of the iceberg. The city was devoured in smoke, its citizens in madness. He'd always shrug off those stories as ramblings of the past, but during the war, he stood at the center of the heartless machine that was the city, its every gear calibrated to slaughterhouse precision to maximize the death of its people. There, he must have witnessed things far worse than the worst the city presently has to offer. His eyes gazed beyond the veil of the bygone past, shaking restlessly in pursuit of what was no more. Welcome back. And thus, they are christened MVM! Oh boy. Oh boy. Sorry, fellas. I'm afraid I got carried away lamenting what happened, that I forgot this was supposed to be a class. I'll be sure to prep something more useful next time.
No. Everything you told me really solidified my resolve. This chaos within hongyuan needs to come to an end soon, lest something so horrible could happen. I'm heading to my next class.
Wait for me! Even after the two students left, Gregor lingered in that room for a while, lighting up a cigarette after cigarette without erasing what he wrote on the chalkboard. Smoke soon filled the room. He left only after almost emptying the entire pack. We got a lot of Ren. Why don't we work on some of the novice classes next? Yeah. Let's just level up some of the novice classes.
How are classes going, Shichun?
I'm not you, big bro. I pay attention in class.
Oh, hello, Miss Dayu. She was really insistent on helping me out, even though I refused because she looked preoccupied. The moment I found out about the contents of his lesson plan, I simply could not allow him to do this alone.
I forgot which fucking voice I used for like everyone, aside from the main sinners. Except for Ed and Shichun. Looks like it's gonna be another serious class.
Apologies for the late greetings. Dayu of the Lean family formally extends her greetings to the venerable hierarch.
Been a while since I heard that greeting around here. Wait, what about Big Sis Bao Chai? Are you sure it's okay for a Shui family bodyguard to be here?
I am no longer employed as Miss Bao Chai's guard.
Wait, don't tell me we got you.
Everything I did that day, including accompanying you, was under Miss Bao Chai's orders. As for why she no longer needed my services, I don't understand myself. She suddenly let me go after the trouble was over.
So, what's there for you to teach me, big bro? Your last lesson plan about not making things awkward got vetoed by Zilu, so... Could have taught me a thing or two if we were still kids, but... Come on, you spend most of your time stuck in Yi Hongyuan before leaving Hongyuan. I don't know what you could possibly have to teach me.
Don't you worry, Shichun. This is the one thing I think I'm pretty good at. My lesson for Shichun and Sinclair is...
In clear, neat handwriting, Honglu wrote, "Surviving Hongyuan" on the chalkboard.
Oh well.
Oh well. I don't think I need any help in that department from you. Look, I know you've had your share of assassination attempts, big bro. But the previous hierarch in the Elder's favor sheltered you from the worst of it.
She's not wrong. Back when we had to fight our way through the bunch of sweepers, weren't you also one of the handful who got assassinated?
Oh, that? I was wandering the hallways because I felt like something was off about my room. Until Dante told us all to go back to our rooms, of course.
Wait, it was my fault?
You do have some intuition, I'll give you that.
Looks like I'm going to have to prove myself. Dayu, would you mind preparing the thing? You have my utmost faith, but please do practice caution. Get out.
Sometime later. I was trying to think of something funny to say, but whatever. Sometime later, Lin Daiyu appeared with 4 bowls splishing with tea, before sprinkling some powder into one of them. What's that?
That's powdered wolfsbane. I see where this is going. You're going to teach me how to tell which of these bowls contain poison, right? You can stop now. I learned to recognize infamous poisons like wolfsbane when I was 7.
If it was something as tame as what you're suggesting, Venerable Hierarch, I would not have been here to accompany him.
Lin Daiyu continued her process, sprinkling wolfsbane powder into 2 more bowls. Hong Lu, who was watching that with an oddly contented expression, closed his eyes. On Skivity,
Please mix them up, Daiyu.
Okay, wait, what? We stared in confusion, but we could hardly tell what was going on with the speed at which Lin Daiyu swapped around the bowls. When we looked back at Hong Lu, there were 3 silver spoons in his hand.
Those silver spoons were custom made at Dagwan Yuan's request, a must-have item for children of the 4 great houses. They can detect non-sulfuric poison as well.
Yeah, I know. They're actually...
Actually what?
It's nothing.
In hongyuan, where we are beset by threats of assassination from all directions, knowledge alone isn't enough to save you.
What the heck are you...
But Hong Lu opens his eyes before Jia Shichun can finish her sentence. Then, he throws the silver spoons in his hands like throwing pins toward 3 of the bowls. And immediately chugs the 4th bowl, which he hadn't thrown a spoon at.
Holy crap! Are you insane? You barely even checked them for...
Shiren's new air tea is always delicious, even when cooled.
The 3 silver spoons Hong Lu had cast earlier were slowly melting away, after quickly becoming tarnished black. Is wolfsbane poison supposed to melt through metal?
People like to be thorough with their poisons in Dagwan Yuan. Since everyone's been trained for immunity since childhood, you have to make a mixture of various poisons to have a real effect.
Fine. I don't even want to argue. What's your secret?
I want to know too. Do they sound different or something?
I just went with my hunch.
Just a hunch? How are we supposed to learn that? We're not Heathcliff, you know?
You'll get the hang of it after a few tries. I'll help you out. Shall we begin with 2 bowls?
I see. When you say you just avoided whatever felt wrong with a hunch, you were reflectively identifying the threat by reading the room and connecting it to your intuitive experiences.
Aha! You were using Miss Dyer's anxious breathing to clue you in.
So this is how you managed to survive for so long.
Listen carefully, Shichun. I know that the adepts of each Heisho will come to your aid with a flick of your wrist. And I know that your residence, Yanshangu, will be engineered by the best craftsmen to become a safe fortress stocked to the brim with all kinds of useful boluses to protect your life. Even still, there will come a day when you start to feel this creeping sensation whose origin you can't identify. And when it does, I hope you won't brush off that sensation as nothing.
You're worrying over nothing.
Jia Shichun whipped around away from Hong Lu as to express dissatisfaction, but her softened expression told me that she was glad to see him worried. Greg time! So there's a chance of class failure. Does she actually do it properly when she fails the class? Every 6 days, you'll be subjected to midterms, prepared by the Board of Directors, Jia Yuanchun. A palanquin has been prepared to take you to the exam sites, and only by passing the test may Jia Shichun retain her status as the family hierarch. My lady. Oh, don't worry yourself over much, Master Wei. You sound like you're at a funeral. She will pass these tests with ease as long as she has been diligently taking her classes. No, I simply hope I can survive until she returns. It seemed that Wei's rather funereal voice wasn't just out of his concern for Shichun.
Wei, are you sure you're okay?
I can't escape them, even in dreams. The unfinished bundles of paperwork cascading over me like a storm, worrying me. Steel yourself, for that was no dream at all. In fact, never have I once seen paperwork trained in the arts of airwalking until now. I must be severely sleep deprived. Looks like we're not the only ones going through the ringer. I think I'm gonna beat the midterms and then I'm going to log off. Fighting time! Yay!
Hey, you're one of the she-boys.
We finally meet! I had hoped to fight you in the family hierarch war.
If you run into me then... Isn't it supposed to be a sparring match? Does it sound like you have a personal grudge against me?
Oh, it's nothing.
Nothing at all. Why in the world would I ever hold a grudge against you? The results of the family hierarch war couldn't be any clearer, and everyone even remotely connected to the mess has all been dragged away and put under investigation. Hey, guess what? They dragged away half my family, which means there's more room for me. I should really thank you, right?
Honestly, why don't you just declare a war against the Shi family at this point? Wouldn't that be much easier?
War's not easy. It never is.
What are you on about all of a sudden?
It's not something we should be talking so lightly about, even as a joke. Your family was arrested because they are under investigation for treason against Daguan Yuan. If they're innocent, I'm sure they'll be released soon enough.
I know it's pretty much a given that they'll all be ruled as guilty, regardless of what really happened. You know I can't even pay them a visit because you've hidden their cells all over hongyuan?
They're not hidden. All holding cells within hongyuan have always been designed to move around in very short intervals. You know, that does seem like the kind of design that would lead people to make some unfortunate assumptions. Though I'm sure the initial purpose was to prevent escapes. I recently gained a better understanding of hongyuan's structure, so I'm planning to change our policy so that prisoners are still on trial are allowed to have fixed locations.
Really? Where do you...
I was lucky enough to take a few excellent classes recently. Managed to reflect upon myself a bit, too.
Huh. You did change a little.
Still,
You better not expect me to go easy on you. I've got my own things to take care of.
good. Come on, let's do this. Many illustrious victors of the past have said that naught but disparagement awaits unjust victories.
Oh, is that it? We don't get to pick? Okay. I think it's like, maybe, is it scripted? It might be. Probably it is. Destroy them. Destroy him, Jia. Make him beg for mercy.
Yay!
Good for you. You won. Now stop giving me that look and get out of here.
You lost most of your clan during the Family Hierarch War, didn't you?
Yeah. So what? Are you calling me a penniless loser? Are you calling me fucking broke?
It seems like you lost a lot of your clan.
Are you calling me fucking brokey?
Yeah. You little. And I'm sure that's what I look like to you, too. I don't want your... Sorry. Every clan member who died in the evaluation to have died for nothing. If I show weakness, that means I'm making everyone who participated in the evaluation look weak. So I'm going to win. And I'm going to win without the fertile soil my predecessors have left behind. Because their legacy was unjustly nourished by the blood and tears of hongyuan itself. Shihuazen, you are tenacious, determined, and strong of will. That must be why everyone stood by you, down to the last man.
You knew my name? Ma'am?
I do. So, what do you think? Want to make them sing your name in glory for the remaining history of hongyuan?
hongyuan kindness moments. Alright, that makes the midterm complete. Alright, and that means to window, because I am very sleepy. I have to complete my objectives for the night, and I'd like to get to bed at a decent time, maybe. You got achievements? I need to get them back. I need to regenerate. Oh yeah, this is supposed to be really good, I heard. I should grind this event, I think.
저녁은 저녁만큼의 운치가 있어요.
Alright.
비록 여기서 제 방만큼
Indeed.
풍경은 잘 안 보이지만 단테님이랑 같이 있어서 좋네요.
Alright. Yeah, I think that's where I'm gonna finish off the stream for today. So thank you to everyone who showed up. I hope you all had fun, because I know that I did. And I hope to see you all again soon. Bye bye.